won't even notice the cold anymore. I have got a presentation here I'm going to share with you. I just want to put it up here and make sure everyone can see it. Okay, so this is our presentation today. And what we're going to do, a little introduction that Tracy's just done, and then the difference between business plans and company profiles, key pillars of different or definitions of each topic, and the Q&A. Basically, what I'm going to do is take a program that I've been running for 12 years as an NGO, and it's been running in schools, but it's something that we all should have learned at school and we didn't. So I'm going to give that information to you in a very interesting and interactive way. And by the end of today, you should have a much better idea of what goes into a business plan and how to actually put it together. It's very practical. This is not a theory course, it's a practical course. So whatever theory there is, it's something that you can actually use as a tool and something that will actually be, very based on what you're going to put into it. So it's not just, learning about something and putting it in a file and leaving it. It's actually taking it and working with the information that you learned today. So as Tracy just said, all of that, the Youth Citizens Action Program is the 12-year-old program, and it's run in an NGO that was founded in 2013, which is called Empowervate Trust. And we work, as I said, in schools, but we also do outreach to small businesses and individuals who want to get into business. So I want to just start with expectations of today's session. So what would you like to get out of today? And you're welcome to write in the chat. It's probably easier than unmuting, but if you don't know how to use the chat or you prefer to speak, then just unmute and say what your expectation is and then remute again. And we don't have to get 10, but let's see if we can at least get 5 expectations of today's session. Why did you want to join today's session? Anyone's welcome.
Hi, Amanda.
Hi.
How are you? Good, thanks. So firstly, thank you so much for this. This is really wonderful. One of my biggest expectations of today is, obviously, besides the obvious of doing a full business plan, I run my own business, but I don't have any kind of structures in place. So it's kind of like a fly-by-night kind of thing. I hope none of my clients are on here. But yeah, so basically I'm just looking for more of a structured way with everything, as far as, I mean, everyone's obviously in different careers, but things with regarding, financials and yeah, I suppose that as a big one. And then also, I think there is a separate social media course that's coming as well, but that's just another thing that I really want to gain some knowledge on, is your proper social media, not just posting something here and there, but mostly, like I say, I do just need the actual business model to work off to actually make this business a success.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I've just added that as number 1. And then also in the chat, I've added Francie. I said, what about operations monitoring based on business plan? So I just put that in there. Odette said clarity, please. I'm not sure what she meant by that. Odette, do you want to explain what you were asking?
Yes, there's confusion about what should be acceptable verbally as opposed to what should be in print, and how to open up areas where there are great problems, to try and solve problems. How does one do this if one is left out of meetings and there's verbal issues instead of printing issues? We don't refer to the print, to the results in order to move on.
Okay, fine. I've put that as number 3. I hope that it describes what you were saying.
Yes, thank you.
Okay,
thank
great.
you.
Anyone else have anything that they want to get out of the session? Someone's unmuted. Do you want to talk?
Amanda, I'd like you to please add how to manage a team effectively.
Great. Someone's unmuted, I don't know.
Thank you.
Okay, how to manage a team effectively.
Amanda, if I may,
Yes.
Another thing is, and I know this is more of a personal thing, but time management. I have none. So that'll be great. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Okay, I think we've got enough for now. If anyone else wants to add later, wait, there's one in the chat, let's just see. To use the business plan as a roadmap, and there's another one here, so let me just put this. Okay, so operations monitoring based on the business plan, which is similar to what, actually there's two exactly the same ones, so I'm going to take this one out. As you can see, number 2, number 7 were exactly the same. So we're going to leave it as that for now, and then at the end, if any of these are not answered, then we'll also ask Courtney to help us if there's anything that is not covered in this presentation, but I'm hoping that most of these things are going to be covered today. So what skills are needed in business? So the first one is project management skills. So it's how to run a project from beginning, middle to end. And I know business doesn't really have an end in that way, but managing a project has specific skills that you'll need in running a business. And we're going to go through those skills today. That's what we're going to work on. Also communication skills, as the person before mentioned about clarity. Communication is very important. The other person mentioned time management. Here's time management. Conflict resolution, that's part of the communication. Presentation skills, public speaking skills. Being active citizens and change agents, because we don't just live in this world in a bubble. You know, we need to make a difference and need to fix the world wherever we can. And how to solve social, environmental, educational, and economic problems in your, not your school, but your community. So how to write a business plan, it's a 10-step process. Well, number 10 is basically putting it all together in the business plan. So number 1 is how to form and manage a team. 2 is roles and responsibilities. 3 is research. We'll discuss what they are just now. 4 is identifying the topic or the business and describing it. 5 is finding the target market and brainstorming solutions. 6 is planning the actions and budgeting. 7 is managing the team and doing the actions. 8 is showing evidence, proving impact and sustainability. And 9 is talk about it, communication and motivation. And as I said, 10 is putting it all together. So we're now going to go step by step through these different steps. And I'm going to go through the step first, and then we're going to do something interactive around it. And you're welcome to ask questions, but rather wait for me to finish discussing the step before you ask the question, because I might be covering what you wanted to know anyway. But if I finish the step and you're still not clear on something, please let me know, either in the chat or by unmuting. Step 1. So how to form and manage a team. So if you are in your business and you've got a team already, that's fine. And if you're actually forming a business and you want to put a team together, that's also fine. Or if you're a sole proprietor, someone working on their own, and you just use other suppliers or you outsource different parts of your business, that I call as your team anyway, because you are working with other people. So whenever you work with others, it's still a team, whether they're your employees or whether they're your partners or whether you're outsourcing to them, they're still part of your team. So recruiting the team is very important. You want to make sure that you get the right people. And especially if you're starting out, then it's easier to start looking for the right people. If you're already in a team, you don't really have that choice. You already have the team. So it's not looking for the right people, but making sure that your team is running efficiently as a team. So how to make your group a team? That is having a common goal and common process that you follow, and everyone is clear on how everything works, and they agree to, why you're there, what you're doing, what your goal is. That is how to make your group a team. Because a group of people is just different people put together. It doesn't mean that they're all working towards the same goal. So that is important. And also how to resolve conflict. So conflict will happen. There's no way that you will have life carrying on with no conflict. But conflict doesn't have to be a negative thing. If it's run and managed properly, it can actually be a positive thing, because it means that people are not scared to say what they think, and they're going to rather be open and honest and talk about problems than let them fester and grow and then blow up one day. So managing conflict is a very key skill in running a business. And there are different conflict resolution skills. We don't have time today to go into them because this is an hour and a bit workshop. So, that would take a much longer time. But anyone who needs to find out about that, let us know at OrtJet, and through me, we can always help you with different skills and tools that you can use to resolve conflict. And then working remotely obviously is a different skill that you need to find out how to run a team when you're not actually meeting in person. You're only seeing each other online. It's a bit different to actually seeing people around the water cooler or in the, making coffee. It's a different feel because you don't have those personal interactions. You only really have the online business part of it. So how to make that more fun and how to actually add in those personal moments is important. You mustn't lose that, even though you're not working physically together. So that is step one. Does anyone have anything on this that you'd like to just mention, or anything that's not clear? Great. So I'm going to move on to step two. So step two is roles and responsibilities. So now you've got your team members, but who should take which roles? What are their responsibilities? And how do you find out what their strengths are in order to give them the right roles? Because someone might apply for a certain position, but when you look at their CV, actually they fit another position a lot better. So it's important to know what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are, and put them in the right roles. Obviously, they have to agree on that. You can't just put them there. It's a discussion, it's a communication. But knowing what the roles are and what the responsibilities are and having the right people in them is going to be step number two. It's very important. Then using timesheets to manage the team. Some organizations run on timesheets, so you're welcome to use that if that suits your business. Some of them rather do deadline-based management. So you have a deadline, you have to complete that project by that time, and that is, how you manage the team. It's not about specific hours spent. A timesheet is, I spent half an hour doing this, I spent an hour doing that. So that is different to a deadline-based organization. And communication, as I said, is definitely key. So that is step two. Any questions on step two? Okay, let's move on. Now we're getting into the more nitty-gritty stuff. It's the research. So SWOT analysis, mapping and mind map. SWOT analysis is a little graph that you draw where you write in one quadrant what are the strengths, another one what are the weaknesses, the other one the opportunities, and the last one the threats. And that is of your industry, of your area, of your business, of you as a person. You can do SWOT analysis for anything. But the great thing about it is that it actually makes you delve deeper and to really uncover what your business could do or what your industry needs. And it's something that you can also do in your team as a team building exercise. As I said before, in the roles and responsibilities, choosing the right people for the job, you could actually go through the SWOT analysis with them and see what are their strengths, what are their weaknesses, where would they fit in best as a role. And also of your business, where are the strengths in your business? What are you good at? What are the weaknesses? What do you need to improve on? What are the opportunities? Where could you go to from here? Something you haven't thought of that you could get into. And what threats are there that could actually make your business fail or can make it not do as well as it could? How would you counteract that threat? So that is the SWOT analysis. And then after that, there's another tool that's drawing a map of your area or environment and listing all the challenges on that map. And the challenges could be gaps in the market for you to actually make a difference with your business. So that's why I mentioned being active citizens and making change, because you could actually make positive change to a social or environmental, economic problem in your area while making money as a business. So you could do both at the same time. So this map would be listing all of the businesses, the streets, the whatever in your area, and on there writing where the problems are, where the challenges are, or where you find an opportunity. So drawing a map of an area could be like, this area has a very, very dangerous intersection. It's like there's accidents there every week. It's a big problem, and that could be one of the problems on the map. The other problem on the map could be there's some like vandalized areas. There's a place that's always getting spray painted, a wall that's always being spray painted, or there's litter in a certain area, or whatever problems that there are in those areas. And then it could also be more social issues. So now with COVID, there could be issues as, these places are not COVID friendly. They're not running their businesses following COVID protocols. So that could be a threat. So that map, you could put anything on there. And the nice thing about it is that you see your whole business plan in one map, because you can see everything on one page, and then you can hone in on the areas where you want to be making a difference and making a change. So you can say, this area here, this one about the littering, that's what we want to do as our business. We want to incentivize people to not litter, or to pick up litter, or to recycle. You can go into a whole business from there. It can spiral into something really interesting. So that's the map. And then the systemic stairway is one that we're going to use right now, because it's something that I need to really get you to understand the benefit of. It's actually a course that has been run at a business school in an MPA program, a program that's just before MBAs. It's quite high level, but it's a very interesting program. It's basically how to prioritize your ideas. So you might have lots of ideas from the SWOT analysis in your opportunities section, in your strengths section. You have lots of ideas on your map. And now you're like, wow, I'm overwhelmed. I've got so many amazing ideas that I could do. How do I know where to start? Like, what business should I do? So this systemic stairway is how to prioritize your ideas. Or it could be that you're in a business already and there's certain products that you have or certain services that you have, and you want to know which ones are the ones that you should be pushing the most, which ones are the most profitable ones, which ones are the most impactful ones, and you're not sure. So this exercise can help you to figure that out. You can even use the systemic stairway to look at all of your personal issues in your life and say, like, what is your priority in your life? Could be work, could be family, could be hobbies, whatever. So this systemic stairway is very usable across all different elements. But today we're going to do an exercise so that you can see how it works. Remember, I said to you, you can use these tools in anything. So today I want to teach you how to use the tool. And then after the session, you can use it for anything that you'd like, especially your business. So here's some ideas that I'd like you to give me for a systemic stairway. So what business ideas would you want to come up with? It can be something that you've thought of, or something you haven't thought of, or something you're already in, or something you want to get in. Any business ideas. We need to get 10 of them. So you can just say whatever they are. Don't be shy about it. And we're not going to steal ideas here. This is just for this exercise so I can show you how the systemic stairway works. So let's come up with 10 different ideas for a business. Right now, in this day and age, what business would you set up? Okay, you can use this chat or you can unmute and say whatever business you're thinking of.
Ask my husband to get down another duvet, because I don't think that's going to dry today.
Sorry, you're unmuted.
Sorry.
Outsourced.
Hello?
Hello?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, I was going to say outsourced remote sales team. Yeah.
Outsourced sales.
Yes.
Perfect. There we go. There's our first business. Okay, let's hear some other businesses. Remember, it can be ones you're already in or ones you want to start or just ones you've seen around, ones you use yourself. It doesn't have to be something new.
Art shop.
Art
shop.
Okay, art shop online or offline or both?
Both.
Okay. There we go.
Amanda, so for me it would be photography.
Yes.
And what I've started doing, for example, during COVID is, I always do offer my clients post-production items and kind of albums and all of that. But because of COVID, I've actually had to go into doing more of that, not necessarily with shoots of mine. So having people send me their work and, I put together art pieces or albums or whatever for them. So it's just also like the time management of that. And yeah, I suppose that's just an opportunity where I can grow and move things.
Awesome. Great. So I've just put it there as photography and post-production as a business. And we need another couple. Any other
Hearing
ideas?
healthcare.
A virtual PA.
Virtual PA.
Hearing, I've got one. Hearing healthcare.
Sorry.
Charlene.
Say that again.
It was Charlene. Charlene, do
Hearing
you have a
healthcare
comment?
and debt collection.
Healthcare and debt collection. Separately or together?
I can't hear.
I think it was healthcare
Yeah.
and debt collection, if I heard correctly.
It is hearing healthcare.
Hearing healthcare.
Yeah.
Oh, so caring for your ears. Okay, fine.
So, Amanda, we have cybersecurity awareness.
Cybersecurity. Awareness or just cybersecurity?
Awareness.
Okay. So awareness
We
of
have
cybersecurity. Okay.
real estate.
Real estate.
We have social network with hiring options for music and voice work.
Social network for...
And then I think the last one that we can fit on is manufacturing of healing and beauty creams.
Okay, fine. So there's our 10 businesses. Very nice. So now what we need to do, now this is the fun part, is we need to cut from those 10 down to 5 ideas. Now remember, when you're doing this at home or whenever you do it, it's not going to be just 10. You're going to have lots and lots of ideas. There could be 50. But in the end, you need to put them into 5 specific ideas. So some of these are a bit similar, so we can group them together. And then others are very separate, so we can't group them. So we need to now, with your help, see which ones will go on to 5. So the first one, outsource sales. What would that go with? Does that fit in with anything? Outsource sales, does that maybe go with virtual PA? Can that be in a group by itself? Outsource sales, virtual PA. Maybe cybersecurity awareness. Social network for music and voice work. Maybe the art shop could go with photography and post-production. Some similarities there.
Sales would go together.
Any ideas on how we want to group these?
It can go with manufacturing of healing and beauty creams because you also have to sell them.
So what can go with that?
Outsource sales.
Outsource sales can go with manufacturing of healing and beauty creams. Okay, great. So we need to have a nice name for that so we know what we're talking about. So let's say manufacturing and sales. Manufacturing and sales. I'm going to say outsource manufacturing and sales. Or manufacturing and outsourced sales, rather. Because you're going to make it yourself and outsource the selling of it. Okay, so that's one of the ideas. Okay, the other one was art shop and offline, the art shop on and offline, so art shop. Just going to take that out. Photography and post-production. I think art shop and photography can go together.
Yes, it can go together. Somehow it can be the artistic side can come into the photography. I mean,
exactly. Yes, they do go together. Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So that's 2 of them. Now we need to get the other 3. So with hearing healthcare, doesn't really go with anything else. We leave it by itself. And virtual PA. So we can have virtual PA in.
Yeah, it's always the stepchild.
Hearing healthcare. If there was other healthcare something, we could add them together, but there's nothing else to do with health, so we can't mix them. So I think then the last one, Kate, now we have to see who thinks we should have cybersecurity awareness is the last one. I'll have votes. Either cybersecurity awareness or real estate or the social network. So vote for 7, 8, or 9. You can just put in the chat 7, 8, or 9 as our last one is number 5. And whichever gets the most votes, we'll put on the 5th one.
I think virtual PA and debt collection can go together.
True. Virtual PA and debt collection. Great. Okay, let's see in the chat. We're getting 7s and 8s. Let's see how many. So there's 1 7, 2 7s, 3 7s, 3 7. Oh, 4 7s. There we go. 7 is just 1. So cybersecurity awareness is going to be our last one here. And obviously, when you're doing this in your team, the fun thing about it, if you can do it in person, is that you actually put little post-it notes. You know those little like pieces of paper? You can't really see it with this. So you get those little post-it notes and you give that to everyone in the team. And then they write down whatever ideas they have, 1 per page. And they don't write their names on it. So it's not a personal thing. It's just any ideas. And no one can be accused of being, giving a stupid idea or anything like that. And you just write down ideas, you brainstorm, and you come up with whatever ideas as a team. And then you collect all those papers. And then you go through this process of seeing which ones go where and what fits in and what doesn't fit in and what you want to work on and what you don't. So at least you have like this big pot of ideas to work from. So like, as I said today, because it's an hour and a bit session, we're not doing it as in depth as we could, but it's a good idea to do that if you're doing it in person, even with yourself. If you want to go through it, like just write as much as you can, like spend a lot of time in the brainstorming and then go through this process. So now we've got our 5. Okay, so those manufacturing and outsourced sales is our 1, art shop and photography and all of those related issues, photography, photo books and whatever else that's included in there. Virtual PA and debt collection, that's another one. Hearing healthcare is another one. I don't know if we should say hearing healthcare or just healthcare. Like, does it have to be specifically hearing healthcare as a specific business? Is it only hearing? I don't know. And then the fifth one is cyber.
Please.
Yes, please. Okay, we'll leave it as that.
Yeah.
And then the fifth one
No,
is
hearing.
cybersecurity awareness. Okay. Now what we have to do is the fun part. So I'm going to go here with my colored pens and draw on this piece of paper because I can't do it online. If I were there in person, we would have a whiteboard and I would draw it in front of you. But since we don't, I'm doing this diagram here, which comes up with that star, you know, that star shape. And these are the blocks of those 5 different ideas, okay? So I'm going to write each idea in those blocks, and then we are going to do an exercise where we have to see which one is more profitable as a business right now. And also not only profitable, but more urgent. There's more need for it, okay? So the first one I'm going to say is manufacturing and sales. I'm just going to say that as the first one. The second one is art shop and photography. Okay. The next one is virtual PA and debt collection. The fourth one is hearing healthcare. And then the fifth one is cybersecurity awareness. Okay. So now the fun part comes. So I want you guys to debate this. You know, if we don't agree, if we have a tie, we have to debate and see if we can come up with consensus. And that's where all the group work then comes in. Because now we want to see which one is the more urgent or important or profitable one to start with. So if we have a choice between number 1, which is the manufacturing and outsourced sales, and number 2, the art shop and photography, which one do you think will be a better business to start right now? Now, we're not imagining our own businesses. This is all theoretical, right? So don't think of, oh no, but that's my business. Of course, it's more important. It's about this exercise, okay? So between manufacturing and outsourced sales as a business and the art shop and photography and all of those related items is another, which one would you rather do as a business? So you can vote between 1 and 2. And then we'll see if we have a tie or not. If we don't have a tie, then we just go with that one. The majority wins. Everyone's saying 1. There's been 1, 2, and everyone else has said 1. So, yeah, 1 is a clear winner. So now what we do is we draw an arrow, okay, from the one that is most important to the next one. So we're drawing an arrow from manufacturing all the way to the photography. Okay, so that's one arrow going out. So the arrow goes down and then the arrow part goes into the next one. So that is our number 1 compared to 2. Now if you had to compare the manufacturing and outsourced sales to number 3, the virtual PA and debt collection, between 1 and 3, which one is the most urgent or profitable one? Manufacturing and outsourced sales of items can be health items, can be sales of insurance, it can be anything. Like we haven't specified here what this manufacturing or sales are. Compared to a virtual PA who will do all your appointments and your debt collection and everything for you online. You don't have to see the person. Which one do you choose, 1 or 3? I'm getting lots of 1s again. Just wait. We've got 2 3s now. Okay, the 2, that was the last exercise. There's 2 3s and then 2 1s. Another 1. I'm waiting for 1 more to be the deciding vote. Oh, someone said 1 and meant 3. So that means it's 3. So that means I'm drawing the arrow from number 3 to number 1.
Amanda?
Yes.
Sorry, is it possible to show us this diagram as you're doing it? Yeah, just so we can see what's going on. And is there any way to enlarge that we can see it?
Okay, so remember these are the ones that are example things. So we now did the yellow block. So we compared the yellow block to the green block. And we drew the arrow going out from the yellow to the green. So you can draw, if you have a page with you, you can start drawing it on your page.
Do you by any chance have a template of that you could send us?
Yeah, we'll send this presentation to you. Yeah, we'll send this
presentation. Okay, perfect.
So one goes to, has the arrow going out, the yellow one goes to the green one. And now we just did between the yellow one and the blue one, and the blue one went out to the yellow one. So the blue beat the yellow. So the arrow went out. So as it is in this diagram, it went from the blue to the yellow. Okay, so that's what we've done so far, between 1 and 2 and 1 and 3. Now we need to do between 1 and 4. So between manufacturing and outsourced sales or hearing healthcare. Okay, we're getting lots of ones. We've got 1 4, 2 4s. We've got 3 1s. 4 1s. Another 4. Okay, so there's 3 4s, 4 1s. The last one will be the decider. And if it doesn't, then I need someone to motivate which one. So we can have one from each side to see which one is the more urgent one. In fact, just as an exercise, I'd like the person, someone who voted for 1 and someone who voted for 4, to tell us why they think that one is better. And then we can make the last deciding vote. Okay, anyone from 1 and anyone from 4, who thinks that? Okay, so someone said, I think 1 relates to more of us, because manufacturing and sales, like everyone needs that, whereas the hearing, only those who have issues with hearing or needs hearing care would be worried about that. We just take our hearing for granted, basically, which is a problem, right? We shouldn't take it for granted. We should look after our hearing. But yes.
Please, can I ask, I'm a bit confused. I don't know the relationship between the different groups. That those are businesses, small businesses that we are trying to
yes,
open.
See which business. Mm-hmm.
So what is the connection between them? Why do we have to have arrows? It doesn't show strengths or weaknesses.
Oh, so the arrows, this is a prioritization tool. This is prioritization. So seeing which one is the priority, not saying that we're not going to do all of them. We can do all of them, but which one is the one we're going to start with. And you'll see after this, when I do the stairway, it's all going to make sense. So just wait till the end of the exercise and then it will make sense. Promise, it always works out.
Okay, so then the business that is going to do best will have more arrows going in and out. Is
pretty
that right?
much, pretty much, yeah. But you'll see at the end, even more interesting than that, but yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, great. Okay, so now people are saying that hearing is very important. Need to hear to understand what's going on. If you can't communicate, if you don't hear. And then other people say that even people who are hearing specialists need sales, because how are you going to sell your hearing aid if you don't have someone who's good at sales? So now everyone's debating versus hearing versus sales. Let's see which one is going to win. Okay, sales. You choose. Okay, so I'm going to just randomly choose just to make it interesting, and I'm going to say hearing just to be interesting, because they were tied. Remember, they were very, very close. So there's no right and wrong answers with this. Remember, this is a brainstorming idea. This is a prioritization tool. It's not about this is the only way to go. Like if you don't do it this way, you're wrong. It's a way to think about things, and that's why I like the debate element, because that's where you're going to get the most information, is when you debate it. So let's do hearing just as part of this exercise. So hearing is going to be an arrow going from hearing all the way to manufacturing. So from the red to the yellow. Okay. And then the last one, between 1 and 5. Manufacturing and sales versus cybersecurity awareness. Now, cybersecurity awareness is basically if you're going and buying something with those sales, online sales, and someone steals your credit card information and starts, buying their own stuff with your money, that's a problem, right? So it is very important to understand cybersecurity. But then, of course, if there was no online sale, then you wouldn't even need to have cybersecurity because there'd be nothing to buy online. So which one would be the one that you would want to back as a business? Like you are betting on, let's say it's like horse racing, you are betting on the winner. It's like gambling. Which one would you choose? The manufacturing or sales to win, or the cybersecurity awareness to win? Let's see in the chat. Okay, we've got cybersecurity 1, sales 1, sales another one, cybersecurity another one, so it's tied, and then manufacturing sales, so that's okay, tied again because there's 1 manufacturing, 1 cybersecurity. They're very close. Another one for manufacturing, they're in the lead. Okay, manufacturing is 1 by 1 point. Oh, yeah, 2 points. Okay, manufacturing is definitely 1. So we're going to draw the arrow from manufacturing to sales. So it's going to be from the yellow to the blue, the dark blue. Okay, so that's just for number 1. Now we have to go to the second one. Between the art shop, which is the green one, and the virtual PA, which one are we going to back? Art shop and photography and all of those things, getting family photos, newborn photos, photos of weddings, art shop selling art for your house, for your business, art shop for commercial value, you know, to actually invest in, compared to virtual PA, someone who's going to do all your work for you, virtually on, you know, online, and to collect all the debts that you need collected. Which one? 1 or 3? 1 versus 3. Okay, we've got 3 for art, 1 for PA. So art is 1. So we're now going to draw arrow from the art shop. Okay, we're going to draw an arrow from the art shop to the virtual PA.
Amanda, sorry.
Yeah.
I just missed a couple of things. Can you just run through, according to your colors, then what the different headings are?
Okay, so the yellow one is number 1, and then we're going clockwise. So the yellow is number 1, the light green is number 2.
Oh, wait, sorry. I can't see the ideas. Is it?
Oh, the ideas.
Oh,
okay.
there, the manufacturer. Okay.
Yeah.
So
So that's number 1, the manufacturing. Number 2
thanks.
is the art shop and photography, which was
Yep.
the light green. 3 was the lighter blue, the teal, which was the virtual PA. 4 was the red, hearing healthcare.
Perfect.
And the dark blue is 5, cybersecurity awareness.
Thanks. Sorry about that. Okay.
Great. Okay, so now we've done between the art shop and virtual PA. Now between the art shop and photography and the hearing healthcare. So between 2 and 4. 2 and 4. 2, got another 2. Okay, now we're getting lots. Let's just count them now. So there's 2, 3, 4 2s and 2 4s. 2 is winning. Okay, so 2 is beating hearing, so you're going to put an arrow from 2 to 4, which was from the light green to the red. Okay, 2 to 4. Now we're going to compare the art shop and the cybersecurity, between the art shop and photography and the cybersecurity awareness. So which one, 2 or 5? People are still on the hearing one. Yes. Okay, number 5, number 5, number 2, number 5, 5, 2. Oh, it's very tight. Let's see how many there are. Okay. So 5 has got 2, 3, and only 2 for number 2. Another one for 5. Okay, cybersecurity has beaten the art shop. Okay, now we're on the next one, which is between the virtual PA and debt collection and hearing healthcare. Hearing versus, that's number 4 versus number 3, virtual PA and debt collection. 3 or 4? Okay, we've got 2 3s. 3 3s. Looks like 3 is winning so far. 1 4. Another 3. Yeah, another 4. Oh, well, it's getting close now. We need a tiebreaker. 3. Okay. So between 3 and 4, 3 has beaten 4. So the virtual PA has beaten the hearing. Okay. Now we're between the virtual PA and the cybersecurity. So 3 and 5. Okay, well, lots of 3s. 1 5. Two 5s. One more 3. One more 5. It's going back and forth. The last one's going to be the tiebreaker. Actually, 3 is one. There's more 3s here. Okay, so 3 has beaten 5. Okay. Let's see if we've covered all the arrows. So between 1 and 2, we've got 2 and 3. Okay, 3 and 5 we've done. Okay, let's work out the ratios. Okay, so the ratios, as you saw on this diagram here, there's little numbers there. It says out, and then a colon, then in. And there's number 1, 3. So what we do now is we count how many arrows went out of a box and how many went in. So for the first one, how many arrows went out? We've got 2 that went out, and we've got 2 that went in. Okay, so the 2 that
sorry, as you're doing that, I just got mixed up with all these arrows. As you're doing each one, would you say, yellow went out to red and green?
Sure.
Thank you.
So I'm going to put the numbers, say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on your colors. It's going to be easier for me. So
yes, I do. I've got the same colors as you.
Okay, perfect. So number 1, which is the yellow one, went into number 2, which is the green one, and it also went into number 5, which is the dark blue one. And then the 2 others, the 3 and 4. So the other blue, the light blue, and the red went into number 1. So that was 2, 2. So 2 went in, 2 went out. Okay. Then number 2, the art shop. So I've got 2 in, 2 out as well for the art shop. So the 2 that went out were the art shop to the virtual PA, and the art shop, which is number 3, and the art shop to number 4. And then the ones that went in were number 1 and number 5. So 1 is the yellow one and 5 is the dark blue. Okay. Then the third one, which is the light blue. So that one had also, look at this, because they're so similar, we've got another 2, 2. 2 and in, 2 and out. This is very interesting. So number 3 went into number 5 and into number 1. And number 2 and number 3. No, the number 3 has got 3 out. 3 out and 1 in. 3 out and 1 in. Good. Not another tie.
So what is the 3 out? 3 into 1 and 5?
Out, it's going to 1, 5, and 4. 1, 5, and 4. And then the one that went into it was number 2. Okay, you got that?
Yeah, thanks.
That's 3, 1. And then the second last one is number 4. Number 4 has got 1 going out, which is it goes to number 1. That's the one going out. And then the ones going in, they've got number 2 going in, number 3 going in, and number 1 going in. So 1, 3. So it's the opposite of the other one. The other one was 3, 1. This is 1, 3. And then the last one, number 5, has...
just that last one, the green, you said it's going out to hearing.
So no, the hearing one is going out to number 1, which is manufacturing.
Oh, sorry, yes.
And then the rest are going in.
Oh, so sorry, what number?
Sorry, number 1. Oh, number 1 is going into it. Number 2 is going into it. Number 3 is going into it. Wait, did I count wrong? Let me just check. Number 3 is going into it. Number 2 is going into it. No, 1 is going, so 4 is going to 1. 4 goes to 1. So number 5 is also, so it's 0, 4. 0 going out of it and 4 going into it. So it's 0, 4. I did the arrow the wrong way around. I just had to fix that. Okay, and then the cybersecurity one. Number 5, cybersecurity has the 1 going into 5. That's number 1 going into it. Number 3 going into it. That's the second one. And then it has number 2 that it's going from 5 to 2, so that's going out. So it's 2, 2 again. Okay, so now we've got the ratios over here. So let's just write them here, and it's going to be easier for everyone. So let's just write these in. They're very interesting, these ones, because they're quite similar if you look at them. Okay, then this one, let's put this here so you can see which one is which. And then number 4. And number 5. Okay. So now I have to talk about the ratios here. So this one was 2, 2. This one was 2, 2. This one was 3, 1. This one was 0, 4. And this one was 2, 2 again. Okay, so that's the ratios. Now we do the very interesting part here. Now, because we've got some ties, it's going to be different. But here is the staircase. So what you would do is the one that has the biggest ratio. So the one that has the, like this one, that's 3, 1. That's the biggest ratio. 3 going out, 1 going in. That one will be at the bottom of the staircase. As you see, here's the block. It got 3, 1. So that one would be the bottom, which means it's the most urgent one to start with. It's the one that you begin with. And then the next one, and the next one, next one, the next one, and then the last one will be the one that's got the least number. But if you see the names here, it says the driver would be the one that is the most urgent one, but it doesn't mean that that's the only one you do. Do you see here? You can actually have a business with all different elements. Like, you know, Richard Branson, he doesn't only have one business, he has all kinds of businesses. So he prioritizes them according to their profitability, according to the time of, you know, the economy, the needs of people, whatever. So that's how they build onto each other. And you can have all kinds of different businesses, or as I said before, it can be different products within a business or different services within a business, like the photography example. So photography could be one product. Another product could be photo books. Another product could be mugs with photos on it. Another product, you know, so you could do this exercise with that and then see on that stairway which is the one that you want to focus all your energy on. Because you focus on that one, and then the links take you closer to the outcome. The outcome is the one that you want at the end. The end one is the one that is very important. And I think what's beautiful in our example is that the end one, the one that was at the top, the outcome. Do you know what that was? Who can guess? Let's see if anyone was understanding this model. The outcome was the hearing, which means that the hearing health is the outcome, is what you want everyone to get to. It's very important, but you wouldn't start with the hearing one. You would start with the one that was, well, there were lots of ties. So we would either start with the manufacturing and outsourced sales, or we could combine them, all the ones that are 2, 2. I would put them all together into one. Manufacturing and outsourced sales can go with art shop and photography, because you can do that all online as well. And you can also manufacture things in the photography products, so that could be manufactured and sold online. And you could have an art shop that's going to be so number 1 and 2 are very similar, as you can see. And then the number 5, the cybersecurity awareness, obviously that goes into outsourced sales or anything that's going to be online, because you don't want people to be attacked and their money stolen while they're trying to buy your products, right? So number 1, 2, and 5 are actually very interlinked, which is why they came up as ties. See how interesting this is as a model, and every time I do it, it comes up with totally different things, and it's fascinating every time. But what I'm saying here is that between 1, 2, and 5, they are very similar, and that's why they came with ties. So that could be a mixture of the two. So I'm saying the manufacturing here just because, like, it doesn't have to be done in this order. It can be done all at once, or it can be swapped around between those three. So the manufacturing one, the art and photography one, and the cybersecurity one. Those ones are the ones you start with. Those are like the, you know, like they have the low hanging fruit on the tree. Like, you don't climb all the way to the top of the tree to get that fruit first. You first get the ones at the bottom that are nice and easy to pick. So those three are the easy to pick ones. They're the ones that you can start with. They don't require a lot of effort to make them work, as well as you would have to do with the number 5, which is the hearing health, because that, as I said, is a very niche market. Not everyone is going to think about their hearing. We should be, but we're not. So this process can get you more awareness about hearing, and you can add this into the end of your business plan. You can say, so in the beginning, we're starting with all of these items. We're doing manufacturing, we're doing the photography, we're doing the cybersecurity, we're making money, we're getting our name out there, we're getting a reputation, we're doing all those things. And then as time goes on, then we're going to get a virtual PA, because now we're too busy. So we're going to start virtual PA now. And then we need to collect the debt, because those people who didn't pay us are now in trouble. So that's where that fits in. And that also links very nicely to the top 3. And then after that, then we get to the hearing health. Do you see how it works in this example? I'm not saying in a literal business, but in this example, even if you were to start a business, like, I would definitely start with the manufacturing and the sales part of it first, because you can sell.
You need hearing prevention in manufacturing, so that can also tie up.
Exactly. And the manufacturing of the hearing aids, manufacturing of, you know, the implements that are needed to care for hearing, you know, the headphones that don't cause hearing loss or whatever. You know what I'm saying? It all fits in very nicely and makes a nice puzzle. And that's why I love this model, because look how we're now thinking out the box. When we started this process, did you ever see links between these things? They weren't that obvious, but now that we've done the process, it makes perfect sense, that it comes out as making exact sense, because the manufacturing and sales fits into most things. The art of photography, as I said, you're going to manufacture things. Like the art, you need to frame it, you know, to manufacture the frames. The photography, you're going to have the mugs and the photo books and all that needs manufacturing. All those
and
things.
Use for advertising.
Yes, exactly.
For advertising.
It makes sense, right? The cybersecurity, you need that for everything, because if you're selling anything online or using any kind of payment that is not cash, cybersecurity is going to be important. Even your personal information, like the POPI Act, you know, those things that are coming into play now. You need to protect your client's information. That's going to be important for any business, right? And then the virtual PA and the debt collection, that's also important. If you sell stuff and people haven't paid you, you need to go and collect your debt. You need the virtual PA to help you run all these businesses, so that you have time to now work on the hearing aid one, the hearing health, and that's the outcome at the end. So you have all of these things happening, but you see the order of it. If we'd started with the hearing health, it wouldn't have worked as well as if we started this way, because the hearing health, as I said, is a niche market. To get people to know about it is very important to do awareness. How are you going to do awareness when only the people who really, really need it are the ones who know about it? So that's why this model is really interesting to me. Does everyone understand what we just did? Please ask any questions. If anything
I
doesn't
understand the outcome, but how you got to the arrows in and out absolutely left me.
Okay, so the arrow is basically when an arrow goes from a box out to another box, it means that the one that it's going out of is the important one. So like I give to you, I'm giving. So I'm the box that is important, I'm giving the arrow to the next one. So the important one is the arrow going out, and then the one that's not as important, the arrow goes in to that one. So basically the giver is the important one, the receiver is the not as important one, if you look at it that way with the arrows. So that's what we did with this diagram. We did all the arrows saying, like, let's use this example here, because this is a very easy one to understand. So this is a school-based example. So number one, good academic performance is what we want, right? We really want kids to do well. We want them to pass, okay? So that's the yellow one. The green one is the learners are hungry. That's a problem, right? Learners are hungry. Another problem is there's a lack of textbooks, okay? The other problem is absenteeism. Kids aren't even coming to school. And then the last one is substance abuse. Kids are coming to school, but they're high, okay? So now when we look at the arrows, the yellow one, good academic performance. What's more important, that or learners are hungry? Well, obviously, if you're hungry, you're not going to learn that well. So let's say the arrow is going from the learners are hungry to the good academic performance, because we want the learners are hungry to be fixed first before we go to the academic performance. Does that make sense, that the arrow goes that way?
Yeah, I was completely lost. But seeing this kind of makes more sense, that it's one. I think where I'm getting so confused is that they're kind of all completely different kind of genres of business and that. But seeing it like this with the school, yeah, I suppose I can kind of put it together. But that's what we'll each need to do for our own, obviously, business planning and that.
Exactly, and put your own ideas in there and you worked through them. So let me just finish this one so you can see learners are hungry goes to the academic performance and to substance abuse and to lack of textbooks, because if learners are hungry, number one, they're not going to do well academically. Two, if learners are hungry, then they're going to probably fill that gap with substances. And number three, lack of textbooks. Well, like, what is the point of having a textbook if you can't even concentrate because you haven't got any food? And then the absenteeism went to learners are hungry. That arrow went up because usually at schools there's a feeding program. So if they're absent from school, then how are they going to get that feeding program? So that's how that came about. And remember, this is all done with a group and everyone discusses it, and that's what they came up with. So there's no right and wrong answer. So even here with our example, even though these three are ties, if you have a more robust discussion and you have other people in the room, you might have come up with one that's beat the others by a little margin. It could be a 3-1 instead of a 2-2. And then you would have had that one as number one. But either way, the bottom three are still going to be the bottom three. It's still going to be those ones that are the most important ones to start with now. And then the one that was the outcome was the one that, the outcome is usually the one that's harder to get. Okay, to put it bluntly, the outcome is the one that's harder to get. If you look at our example here at the school, getting good academic performance is not easy. Look at our pass rate in matric. It's not easy. If it were easy, everyone would be getting, straight A's and flying through matric. It's not easy. So that is the outcome. But to get to the outcome, you start with the driver. The driver is learners are hungry. Learners are hungry. Once you solve that, then you can tick that box. Great. Now what else do we need to do to get them to get good academic performance? We need to give them textbooks. How are they going to learn without textbooks? Okay, so that's that one. The next link, substance abuse. If we don't solve the substance abuse problem, they're not going to do well academically either. And then the next one, absenteeism. They're not even at school. How are they going to learn? They can't. So once you solve all of those 4 problems, automatically the outcome of the good academic performance will be happening. So that's another way of explaining this model. Hope that makes a little bit more sense. Anyone have any questions? I've got 2 in the chat saying understood, yes. So I think that's helped a bit, like a more concrete example. But as I said, even with our example, I still think it's a great image of exactly why this thing works. Anyway, so that is our stairway model. And you can practice it and try it out at home and see how it goes. There's our SWOT analysis that I mentioned before. There's our map that I mentioned. So this is a classroom map. So they would just write here where all the problems are in a classroom, in a school, playground. And then there's our stairway that we just did. Okay, so now we're on number 4. So number 4 is identifying the idea and describing it. So now we choose that one. So we said manufacturing, because there were ties, we just said manufacturing was the number 1. Manufacturing and sales. That is our chosen one. Now we have to talk about why we chose that one. This is now the full research. Now we're doing the business research. So we say, what is the idea? Why are we going to do it? Who's going to do it? Where are we going to do it? What is the outcome that we want? Who are the people that we're going to be working with? Like all of the details around that specific one that is number 1, that's one that we chose. Now we're going to the details. And this is a baseline research study as well, because now we can measure it from before to after. So also look at competitor analysis. Also look at how are other people doing something similar? What can we learn from them? And all of that stuff in the research, that's what we do in step 4. So step 4 is about identifying the idea and describing it in full detail. So this is research intensive, and it can involve surveys, it can involve meeting people, having interviews with them, doing internet research, anything that you need to get this idea fully fleshed out. Because we just said manufacturing and sales, we haven't said any details yet. So this is where you do the details. Okay, so then we go to number 5. So number 5 is finding the target markets and brainstorming solutions. So who's the target market? Who are we going to target for our specific business? What message do we need to send to them? What solutions do we have in our team around this? Like how are we going to make this happen? So practice listening, conflict resolution, leadership. And then we're going to do another exercise now, another tool that you can use. And this is for the brainstorming phase, which is the 6 thinking hats. So Edward de Bono, I don't know if anyone's heard of him, he designed the 6 thinking cats. And basically what it's about is saying that when you're in a meeting and you're brainstorming, you want everyone to have a specific hat, not a real hat, a virtual hat, that says what they are focusing on in that meeting. So if I'm wearing the hat that says creativity, then I will be coming up with all the creative elements around this problem or around this business that we're starting. Okay, all the creative stuff. That's all I think about in that meeting, creative. Another person's wearing the hat about the risks, the cautions, the dangers. That person will be only thinking about that in the meeting. Another person's wearing the hat about the process. What process do we need to follow to get this thing happening? That's all they're going to talk about in that meeting. So you see what I'm saying? Everyone has a different hat on in that meeting. And if it's only you, then you wear the different hats. And as you're wearing that hat, then you talk about that specific thing. And the point of that is to cover all the elements. Because sometimes in a meeting, you'll have one person that's always saying, what about this? And this could happen, and the danger of this, and what about this risk? And you're like, oh, this person is so negative. They're only talking about the risks. But now we're in a meeting, and that person's wearing the hat that says, I'm discussing the risks. Then that's what you want from them. You need someone to give you that other side. You can't only talk about the fun stuff, the creative stuff. You want to have someone who's actually seeing what could go wrong, what needs to be protected, what needs to be thought of. So that's why the hat exercise is quite interesting. And we're now going to do that. So you can wear whichever hat you want. The blue hat is process and planning. The white hat is the facts, the data, the research that need to be done to get this business off the ground. The green hat is the creativity, the alternatives, the possibilities. The yellow hat is the benefits, the logic, why this idea works. The black hat is the caution, the risk, the danger. And the red hat is the feelings or intuition. So whoever wants to go with this one, give us some ideas for our business of manufacturing and online sales, process and planning, or facts, data, research. You choose whichever hat you want to wear for this exercise, and we will write down some examples of what they could be. So I'll start just to give you a bit of an idea. So the facts, the data, the research, we're going to say if it's an online store, what platform are we going to use? We have to choose. Are we using Takealot as an existing platform to do our sales, our online sales? Or are we going to make our own platform? Or are we going to use another platform, Amazon or whatever, there's other platforms. So we have to choose our platform. So that is for facts, data, research. We have to do that research. Okay, that's a white hat idea. Anyone else have any ideas for any of these hats? You can choose whichever hat. If we were in the room, I would assign you with a hat and you'd have to do that hat. So you're lucky we're not in a room. So you can come up with any ideas. And if you're not sure, ask me and I'll explain if it does fit into that hat or not.
Yes, Amanda.
Yes.
Yeah, I just want to check on a wild guess. I'm not saying I'm correct, but on the white hat, that's where we are focusing on, huh?
Yes, well, any hat. You want to wear the white hat? That's fine. What would you like to add to the white hat? What do you want to research, or what data or facts do you want to add there?
Okay, because you said based on the platform that we're gonna use, you have to select on the. I think that isn't that the advertising part of the business.
Yes. So what kind of advertising are we going to use? So we're now going to research the advertising methods.
Okay.
Yes, you're correct. Yeah,
Okay.
that's white hat.
The black hat, risks of electricity, water, and labor responsibility.
There we go. Very good. But those could also be, because they're in the risk, remember, this is for the brainstorming, but now once they're in that category, you can overturn them. Remember our SWOT analysis. You can make the threats into opportunities. Like this one here, the threat of electricity, you can make an opportunity and say, well, we're going off grid. That's our response to that. The threat of we're going to get a JoJo tank, or we're going to get a borehole. A threat of labor. You know what I'm saying? So all the black hat risks, that you put them there, but the point of them is to always come up with solutions for those risks. Not just leave them there and say, oh, well, those are the risks, carry on. So yes, you are correct, but we can also make them into opportunities. Okay, great. Any other?
Rosa has commented for the blue hat. She said, how are we processing the material? Where is our manufacturing coming from?
Great. That was for the blue hat. Okay, so put that here. Correct. So how the process and the planning, how are we processing the material? So let's say we're making a photo book. What kind of material are we making it from? Where are we going to get that material from? How are we going to get the cheapest prices for the best quality? How are we going to know that we're going to get the right supply at the right time? All of those questions are going to go here for process and planning. So that's a very, very valid point. So well done for that. Okay, so we've got one for blue, we've got one for white, we've got one for black. What about the green, the yellow, and the red?
So Jackie has said the green hat, labeling, and branding.
Okay. Labeling and branding. Great. So the labeling, how are we going to make our product stand out and make that label really pop? And everyone's like, wow, I want to know what that's all about. This company that's manufacturing and selling all these things, like we want to be part of this. We want to make sure that they are the ones that we buy from. Okay. So you want to stand out. You want to be memorable. You want to have a brand that is catchy and people recognize it and they trust it, and you build a reputation around it. So all of those things, yes, it will fit under the green hat. And then once you've got the creative ideas, then the green hat will move to the blue hat, the process and planning. So how are we going to actually do this? Because remember, the creativity is in your mind. Then you have to make it actionable in the blue hat. That's where you actually do it. So you see how they interlink, all of these hats. You have to start somewhere, then they move to the other hats. And that's how you get your business off the ground. We've got a yellow hat saying pricing.
Yes.
So yes, the yellow hat for pricing. So I don't know if it's a yellow hat. It depends on how low your pricing is. I'm going to say competitive pricing. Because if it's just pricing, then it could be a blue hat of how we're going to come up with our pricing. But if we are thinking of competitive pricing, it's saying that our pricing is a benefit, right? The idea works, or this has a logical benefit because the pricing is so good. The quality is good, but the price is so good. So that's what we're going as our competitive advantage, is that. So I would put it under the yellow hat if it was that. But if it was just pricing as, finding out what the price is, that would go under the blue hat, because we have to find out what we're going to charge for our products. So it's a process. Do you understand? It can fit in different hats depending on what we're looking at. Okay, great. What about our red hat? Red hat, feelings, intuition. It's that feeling you get when you look at this product or this brand. You just want to have it. It just feels good. It feels right. It's a difficult one, the red hat. Sometimes you just have a hunch.
Advertising.
Yeah, so you can add your feelings, intuition into your advertising. So I'm going to say the warm fuzzies. So you want your product to give that warm fuzzy feeling. I'm going to say marketing instead of advertising, because marketing is more broad and advertising is paid for. Marketing is, as I said, it's not only paid for advertising, it could be PR, which is unpaid, which has more credibility. Okay, so we have to just look at that. So this is the example of this exercise. As I said, you need to sit down and go through this and understand it, but it's nice to do because it gets you to think of each element, and then, as I said, to move them to the next hat. So the red hat, you can now move that warm fuzzy marketing thing to the blue hat of the process and planning. How are we going to make this actually happen? Okay, so here, the red hat, luxury strategy, and red hat, photography, making memories. You see, how beautiful is that? Right? Warm fuzzies in marketing, making memories. That's the photography. So now you're understanding the red hats. I like that. Okay, so the red hats here, luxury strategy. So that warm fuzzy feeling, when you're driving your BMW, that's that vibe of, I'm driving a BMW. I feel so luxurious. It feels so special. It's not the same as driving a Fiat. It's all in marketing. That's what it is. It's that red hat feeling that you're putting into your marketing. Great. Okay, so we understand the 6 thinking hats, right? I think we're cool. Anyone else want to add something, or we can move on to the next thing? I'm just worried that time is running away from us. Okay, so that's the 6 thinking hats. Then the next thing is planning the actions and budgeting. Now we're getting down to the business part, right? We've got our business, we've got the ideas, we know the process we're going to follow. All of those things that we mentioned in the hats, how do we actually do them now? How do we put the plan into action? How do we make it easy to understand? So that's why we have this, an action card that shows what needs to be done, what resources are needed, how much time is needed, and if any budget is needed, which there will be probably, how to manage your time, how to put together a budget, and how to plan your fundraising or your sales campaign, depending on what your business is. So this is an action card, okay? The action card you can use for all of those hats that you're talking about. You can now put the actions into an action card and say, okay, so the action, let's say, is we want to put together our marketing strategy, okay? So the action is marketing strategy. Then you go to people. So remember, step 2 was the roles and responsibilities. So who's involved in that marketing strategy? So it would obviously be the head of the company, the CEO must be part of it and oversee it, and then the marketing team would be part of it because they are putting together the strategy. Then the resources, information that we have. So what do we already have? So from all this research that we've done, step 3, we did a lot of research. Step 4, we did a lot of research because we identified what business we're working on and all the competitive analysis questions, what are other people doing? How can we be different and have a competitive advantage? All of those things, we've done that. So we've got that resource and that information. So we're going to say, yeah, we've got that in a document or whatever you can write there. The time cost, how long would it take us to put together this marketing strategy? So the deadline. So the deadline will be 2 months from now, let's say. Depends how long it will take you, okay? Then the money we have. So the money we already have for this marketing from our budget, we know that we've allocated a certain amount for marketing, and it is, let's say, 100,000 Rand, okay? So you put there, money we have. Then money we need, let's say that's not enough. We need more than that. So money we need another 100,000, and now we have to think how we're going to get that other 100,000. So then you have to think, either we're going to go and get a loan from the bank, or we're going to take it from another part of the budget, reallocate the budget from marketing, from somewhere else to marketing, or we're going to get donations in kind or some kind of pro bono arrangement with your provider and say, look, we don't have the budget now, but once we start making money, we'll give you back your money. It would be like a loan. Whatever, you can make plans on how to do that. But the nice thing is that it's all in this one action card. You can see everything that needs to be done, and you can manage that process so that everything is clear. Everyone knows what has to happen. Everyone knows who's supposed to do it. It's all there on the action card. Okay, so that's a very useful tool. And then number 7 is managing the team and doing the actions. So now you've got this action card that you put together. And now at the meetings, what you need to do is put together this, which is what needs to be done, who's going to do it, what's needed, and by when. So this is your daily kind of weekly tracking to see that people are actually on track. They know what they're doing. They know why they're doing it. They know when they're doing it by. And if anything goes wrong, then you can always go back to this and reallocate to someone else if that person's not managing it. Or you can change the date if they're not reaching the deadline. Or you can do performance management, and say, look, it's been 3 weeks now. You still haven't done this thing that is listed here. What is the problem? Let's have a meeting about it. Let's see. Is it because you're in the wrong position? It shouldn't be you doing it. Is it because you don't know how to do it? Is it because you don't want to do it? What is the issue? So that's how you manage your team, is making sure that everyone is clear on what needs to be done. And then if things don't happen, then you can manage the situation. It's not just, oh, I didn't say I was going to do that. No, that was the other guy. He said he's going to do the marketing strategy. It wasn't me. Or what? It was supposed to be done by last week. No, I thought it was for 3 weeks' time. You can't have that argument if you have this document. This document is what saves you from those conflicts. So you can also use the timesheet if you do timesheets, and also show how the action plan changed, because sometimes you have an action plan and then things don't stay the same. There's some other challenges. Now there's the riots, let's say. So now your timeline has gone out because the riots messed up your week. So now you have to change the timeline. So yeah, be flexible about that. You can't say that just because it's in this action plan it's going to stay that. That is your blueprint, but then you will change it. Even your business plan. You might have this business plan of doing certain things in a certain area, great, and then suddenly that area you can't go into, like some parts of KZN right now. You don't want to start a business there. They've been looted, they've had riots, they're just not safe. You don't want to go there. So things change, things happen, but you always have to have a plan B, a plan C, a plan D. Have other options of what you can do and manage the situation. So that is step 7, managing the team. Then step 8 is the important part of showing the evidence, proving the impact and sustainability. So now remember in the beginning, step 4, you did your baseline analysis. So you said, this is what we want to do. This is what the climate looks like around this business we want to start. So you've done a competitor analysis. You've seen what's happening. You've seen what products sell. You've seen what you want to do with your product. Everything is done as a baseline, but you hadn't started the business yet. So now you've done the business. Let's say you've already 2 months in. What is the evidence that you need to prove that you're actually doing something positive, you're actually making an impact, and that is sustainable. This business is actually going somewhere. Remember, profit is not necessarily something you get straight away. Many times it takes a long time to break even and even longer to get profitable. So that can't be your only measure. Okay, so you need to look, let's say online business, you look at your online traffic. How many people have come into our online store and looked around? Okay, that's one measure. How many have come? The next measure is how many have actually bought. You know, how many people came in, saw something and bought it, because that's closing the deal. It's very different from just coming and looking. The numbers will be totally different. And then the third one is how many came back and bought more another time, repeat purchases. That shows your sustainability. So you need to check that and monitor that on a regular basis. You don't want to leave that and then suddenly look a year later and you're like, oops, we've been pushing this product and it's really not doing that well, instead of pushing another product that would have actually done well, and now we're in a loss. So this constant monitoring of your financials, obviously, but also your marketing, your website hits, your communication. You know, you can do surveys and you can do all kinds of promotions and things like that to see what works and what doesn't, and then tailor your business to that. So look at the trends. So let's say now, as an example, so personal example of online purchasing. So I've been seeing those hoodies, you know, those big ones that you can sit in. It's like a blanket that you wear. It's a hood, and then it's got long arms, and it's got it's like quite wide, so you can put your legs in it. So I've been looking at that. It's been popping up all over on Facebook, on social media. Friends, everyone is talking about these hoodies. So that thought got into my head, and I was like, I need this hoodie now. So what do? I go onto the internet, I look at all the online shops. So now you have to think, what kind of customers are we attracting? Those who are looking for the cheapest, or the best quality, or both, or something extra. You have to look at that. So that process is going to be very important for your online business. You have to track that and see. So this person now has bought that hoodie. Why did they buy that one and not my one? You have to look at those things. Ask your friends, do research, do surveys to find out, why did they buy that hoodie and not the one you're selling? What's different about it? What were they looking for that you didn't have? And then you tailor it according to that as well. So as we're saying, if we're a luxury brand, then it's not about the price. I would pay more because I want the luxury, right? But if I'm a brand that's like, you know what, you get the cheapest one here. Quality, don't know, but it's okay, but not amazing. But you're definitely getting the cheapest one, then that's what you're going with. So you have to know what kind of business you want to be in. And nothing's right or wrong. There's a space for everyone. But that's where the research comes in, and the tracking. Remember the monitoring and evaluation that we talked about in the beginning, and the expectations. What are we tracking here? What is our measure of success? So that's where this step 8 comes in. You have to prove that you actually made that change, and you have to show evidence for it. And as I said, evidence can be many things, not only financials. Financials will eventually get to that point, but straight away when you just start a business, it takes a while for that to actually be positive. So that's step 8, and then step 9 is talk about it, communication and motivation. So that's the communication strategy internally and externally. So in your team, how do you communicate? And then externally, like advertising and marketing, how do you communicate? You need to have both of them running smoothly. And getting awareness for your organization or your product, whatever it is, and communicating the right message to the right target market at the right time. So that is also important. If you have this message that's meant for people who are driving to work every morning and you put it on at lunchtime, they're not going to hear it. So you have to know what your right time, right message, right target market is. And then also keeping your team motivated. So celebrating small victories. As soon as something goes well, celebrate it. Make sure that people feel appreciated. They feel like they're part of this team and everyone's working together towards the same goal. When things don't go well, don't blow it up out of proportion. You know, those things, because that is often where businesses fail. Like in a personal situation, if someone criticizes another team member and then things get very tense, you need to quickly jump on that and sort it out, because that can actually spiral out of control. So, yes.
Can I please ask a question, Amanda, around that very subject?
Yes.
What I've sadly experienced is that the salaries of everybody is known, you know, not through my doing, and that is I feel a big problem. That how do you undo that when that becomes common knowledge? You know, I think that is so wrong, that even if one is a big earner or small, that there's no protection around that everybody's, you know, inside a space that is sacred and holy, and yet it's not.
Yeah. No, once that's done, you have to do damage control now. It's too late now. They already know. So the first thing is obviously to stop them knowing, but now that it's already too late, is to have meetings one-on-one with everyone and explain, the situation and say, look, you might think that that person's earning whatever amount and you might not understand why. Let me explain to you why. That person's been here 5 years. They've earned the loyalty. They do 5 other things that are not part of their job description. They, try and find a way to explain it so that it makes sense to them and they don't just think, oh, they're getting a big salary because you like them the most. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So that's important, to have that open communication and do it one-on-one, not in a team. Just have the meetings with those who are upset about it and explain why, and say, but you can also increase your salary if you do A, B, and C. There's a plan for you. Let's put together a career trajectory. Where do you want to go in this company? What do you want to do? What skills do you still need to get to the next level? Things like that. Make it a more developmental meeting than just talk about salaries. Like, move the conversation towards how to help them.
Yeah. So, but do you agree it is a question of damage control?
Yes, it is damage control.
Absolutely. It's so destructive. I can't tell you.
Yeah. But unfortunately, it's too late. You have to do damage control. You can't do anything about that.
Yeah, but in an ideal situation, that long ago, that was not exposed. There was care and aftercare. There wasn't a need for damage control.
Yeah. But now that it's happened, you have to do that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so that's step 9. Then what you do is, remember I said step 10 is putting it all together. So now you create a company profile. So when someone wants to invest in your business, or they want to know more about you, or for marketing purposes, anything like that, you're going to need a company profile. So that's more the marketing document that you put together. So the stuff before is your business plan. So that's the stuff that you look at yourself or investors can look at. But then the company profile is more the summarized version that you use for marketing. So now you would take all of the information that you've got and you'd put in a small document, not too long, a few pages, and you'll put a summary of the business and its activities. You'll say when the business began. Like here it says, when did you begin? What is the company name? When did you get established? Your address, phone numbers, website, email. And then the company basics, so the items that depend on your business. So, what is the description of it? What do you do? What's your vision and mission? What products do you sell or services? What history or expansion and growth do you want to talk about? What public relations have you done? What advertising have you done? What industry information is important for people to know when they look at your business? Safety, health, and environmental policies that you've got in place. Even now we're at the POPI Act, the protection of personal information. Core team details, client portfolio, especially like as we had the photography business, you could put nice client portfolio pictures in that section. And then the highlights. So what is a highlight of your organization or your business? What have you done that you're proud of, that you want others to know about? Any awards that you've got, any certifications, special programs or projects, testimonials, client testimonials, very important. And any news or media recognition. And then optional items you can add, annual sales, if you're at that point where you've got nice annual sales to show, financial targets, number of employees, partners, photographs. So those are optional. So that would be a nice glossy document that you put together. And then the conclusion is that today was all about skills, okay? And the skills that you will use now to put together your plans and to look at your businesses in a different way and to see things in a fresh perspective. And remember that planning is key, but you have to be flexible. You have to be ready to change your plans in order to stay relevant and profitable. So especially now during COVID times, you can't just rely on what you've always done. You have to always change it up, but now even more so. Now let's go back to our expectations and see which ones we've covered. So the structural model to run a business. Okay, we didn't go into deep financial discussion because this wasn't a financial course. This was a boot camp. Boot camp means short, sharp, and to the point. We're not going into detail a lot. So the financials we haven't actually gone into, so I'm sure Jet will recommend another course that will focus more on financials specifically. But this was about how to run a business. So I think we've covered that one. Would you agree? Okay. Anyone have any points about that you'd like to talk about? Okay, let's go through the rest. Operations monitoring based on business plan. So operations monitoring is quite specific, but I think the planning and the action card would help you with operations monitoring on a high level. So I hope that answered that question, how to monitor people doing their job, make sure that you get things done on time, at the right level, at the right quality. And then the clarity on verbal versus print in problem solving in business. So that, I think that was the question about the salary being displayed. So now it's damage control, how to deal with that. And then how to manage a team effectively. So that was the step on, who's doing what, when are they doing it by, what are the roles and responsibilities. That section was covered definitely. Time management, I think using that action card will definitely help with time management, because you'll say what you need to do and how long it's going to take you to do it. So that will help with that. And as I said, you can use these for life as well, not only for your business. And then the business plan is a roadmap. So the roadmap is, this is where we are now, this is where we want to go, and then the measuring of the in-between. So we definitely have seen that in this model. And the roadmap means that there might be obstacles in the road, but you mustn't stop your journey. You need to go around the obstacles, find ways around them. And that's why all the time we talk about tools, because these tools can be used over and over again whenever new challenges come up. It's not a once-off. This long old-fashioned ideas of making this thick business plan that you just use as a doorstop. What is the point of that? It should be a working document. It should be something that you add to and you change and you adapt as you go. Not something that you do once in the beginning and then you leave it, forget about it, and even look at it again. So I hope that this workshop has really helped and given you some ideas on how to make your business plan more practical. And I hope that you're going to take the tools and use them and get benefit from them from now onwards. Thank you everyone for your time.